Don't listen to this week's intro at full volume. You've been warned.
Sometimes characters just don't make sense with the universe they're given, and we're going to talk about that today.
Welcome to Time Sweeps.
And we're back. I'm so
This is what we're using. All right, let's go.
Okay. That's my Joe Rogan impersonating a bear. That's my Joe Rogan impression of him impersonating a bear.
Fuck yeah.
So Wyatt, you have some bones to pick today.
If we're
yeah.
gonna be picking up the bones that you fucking spew out the room
What?
I didn't
as
know
a
you-
bear.
Oh.
I went to owl pellets for some reason. Owls? Woo, because they'll throw up bone. Anyway.
Yeah, I know.
I know. It's.
Anyway.
I need to get my head back in the headspace for a second. I'm on a different planet for a second.
Head space. Where else would it be? Your foot space? That was a bad joke.
Get out. Just leave after that.
Okay. So characters and universes can be contrary to the things that we understand to those lore and realms that they are in.
Yeah.
So, like, there's things that just don't make sense because of how powerful they are or how not powerful they are. Or just, like, why did you make the same character twice?
Yeah.
And it's contrary, it's contrasting. Every word that you can think of, it fits into this spectrum of things that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I think one of the best ones is in DC, you have the Speed Force
Yeah.
and all the different flashes or whatever you want to call
I
them.
don't think this is one that we actually touched on in the comic book characters don't make sense, right?
I don't. Yeah, I think we might have, but I'm not sure.
I don't think.
I don't think we talked about Flash at all.
We talked about Green Lantern. I know that, but
They've developed this idea that the different lightning colors on speedsters mean something.
yeah,
That like red's the weakest and white is the fastest.
like how lightsaber colors used to be. Yeah,
They never were though.
No, lightsabers used to mean like what your role was in the.
That's the thing though. It was never
And then
truly canon.
now
it was
it's-
always stuff that was like sidelined because no
Mm.
one could ever agree.
But now the canon is your color chooses you. Everyone starts off with a clear lightsaber. That's real.
There's no way
That's
that's
real.
Shut the hell
That's
up.
real. You start off with a clear lightsaber, they say, and then your color will form as you grow with your kyber crystal.
You're yanking my left nut. You ain't telling the truth.
So, this unless what I read was wrong.
Because I already went through this whole thing of like a red kyber crystal is one that has been bled. When in Legends it's artificial because the Sith can't get into the minds
Kyber
of the
minds, yeah.
and it's like, oh, that makes sense. So they'd use Sith alchemy to make a crystal so that way they could have a lightsaber, and then the white ones were synthetic but not through Sith reasons. But now that's a kyber crystal that's been healed, and it's like to describe it, there is a song by Mastodon called White Whale Holy Grail or something along the lines of that. And someone made a meme out of that 14 years ago of a dude bashing in a whale's head.
I like it.
Poorly drawn in stick figures. And
Anyway.
all I can think of is Captain Ahab just going,
Anyway.
Why are whales dying
Postal.
funny?
What the?
That's a bad question because I laughed.
Because in Family Guy, Peter
Poor
kills a
Fri-
whale for like 5 minutes.
Poor Free Willy.
It's because it's so obscure. It's not obscure, absurd to watch a whale die because it's such a massive creature. It's like unfathomably large. So in this instance, like Peter Griffin bashing in a whale's head just doesn't make sense.
With a forklift. He's a certified forklift driver. And he
All right,
impales a whale
back to the Flash.
and trying to put it back into the ocean
God damn it.
because it's beached. And he just keeps impaling it. And then he tears all the guts out. And then it's just standing there, and there's like a crowd of people watching him do this. And he's like, okay, I'm going to leave.
Hey, Lois, I saw this whale in half.
You never have seen that clip before?
No. I've seen countless clips of whales exploding once they're on land.
Oh, and it was hilarious in The Boys. They drove into a whale.
Yeah, they busted through a whale.
That whales dying is funny in TV
No,
shows.
no.
In real life, it's we can say it's
Extremely
sad. We can say it's sad.
Until they get on a beach long enough and then their intestines just explode and it's kind of like gross and sad and hilarious all at the same time.
It is.
Have you ever seen those clips?
I don't know if I can include this.
Well, and there's that one thing
I
that
don't know if this is cancel just enough to be like, what are they talking about?
and there's that thing that's really controversial up north that they do where they're like not the killer whales, but they're the small killer whale, like dolphin-sized killer whale. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Pod whales, or is that what they're called? Something like that.
A pod
But
is a grouping of whales.
I know, but I think there's some.
There's dwarf whale. There's a bunch of smaller species of
How
whales.
have we
that-
gotten to whales?
Just
let
the conversation roll, man.
I don't know because
Let the conversation roll.
I
We'll
wanna
get back
go-
to topic in a fucking minute.
I want to go back to the Flash now.
Anyway, they lure all like 60 whales to the shore, and then they just run out on the beach and kill them all.
Is it like a native culture thing?
Yeah, and that's why
Okay,
it's super controversial because it's like we've literally been doing this for hundreds of years. So who are you to tell us to stop?
Thousands of years.
Right. It's like who are you to tell us to stop? And it's like,
These
you're gonna run these out of into extinction. And it's like, but they taste good.
I think it's a bit more than that culture-wise, though. Like more than just that they taste good. It's like a
No, it's like an event, like the whole island.
Right,
gets
no,
on the
I
shore,
mean
and,
that
like,
part,
it's like
yeah,
a
but I mean
holiday.
that-
It's
that's
like
what I'm
Mardi
saying.
Gras.
That's what I'm saying. It's a
Right.
cultural thing, and that technically those whales wouldn't be endangered if it wasn't for a lot of other things that also happen in the ocean.
Right.
So they're just living the way that doing a thing that's been happening for thousands of years, and now it's just the Flash.
Thank
Pig-
you.
These things. No. Yeah.
There's a lot of different sizes of whales.
False killer whale. That's what it is. All right.
False
move
killer whale. Okay.
It's like
Yeah,
the size
no,
of a
I know
dolphin.
exactly which
Yeah.
one you're talking. Okay.
It's like the size of a dolphin. It's smaller. Anyway, to the
It
Flash.
feels like I have a nail in my head, like right here. We could put a real one in
Yeah,
there.
you want me to put one in there? Okay.
So the Flash, what I'm trying to say is red lightning means slow, apparently.
White lightning means fast.
Yeah, white
It's
lightning
racist.
is the most pure.
Then why does
Wait.
the dead Flash? What's that one? Dark Flash, the one that's like evil and
The one that's
Black
undead?
Yeah.
Flash. Not.
he has red lightning, and he's super fast because he chases.
There's the Black Racer, and he's on a different thing.
No, the undead one.
The Black Racer.
Yeah,
That's what he's called. He's
Oh.
he's literally death.
yeah, and he has red lightning. So and he's like
And
super
also-
fast because he chases.
Also,
Ubarthon
Professor
through time.
Zoom
Because he's also death, though.
has red lightning.
no one
like
writing.
Like
Why don't they have
reverse
black
Flash
lightning?
is red
Because-
lightning.
They all are stupid.
What'd you say?
Reverse Flash is red lightning.
Reverse Flash has red lightning.
But for some
And
reason,
he's always
still
faster than Barry Allen.
Barry.
Exactly.
And
Do you
why
see
does
my problem with
and
this?
since why does Barry Allen not have white lightning?
I'm getting to that. I'm getting there. Barry Allen is the Speed Force.
Apparently.
The lightning, that's what it is, though. His
He's a he's the singularity.
Yeah, he created himself by becoming the lightning bolt and also being the Speed Force. The Speed Force was born at the time the lightning struck him,
Mm-hmm.
which also raises questions
'Cause
about
he was
Jay
like
Garrick existing.
They said he's been running fast since way before the
That's what I'm.
Speed Forces.
It's
But he didn't
still
have
a-
lightning at first.
That's
He-
also true.
He only
was
got
just a blur.
He only had lightning after Barry
He had
came around.
he had it like on his chest, but he wasn't actually like
No, he didn't have like that.
right behind him.
Yeah.
So I'm getting back on my train of thought. The different colors. There's blue, which is supposed to be more pure than yellow, but yellow is the one that like Jay Garrick and Barry Allen are normally at. There's a version of Barry Allen from the future who has blue. Same as like I think a version of Impulse or something
And
else also has blue.
Wally West has blue.
Wally West has blue. So how is
Ginger Wally West.
yeah. And then you also have further Ginger Wally West. We could just say Wally. The new 52 where he like they changed his race is Wallace. They kind of coexist to a certain degree now. It's weird. And he also had red lightning. It was a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that. Wally West is now he's been the fastest.
Yeah, they've said ever since he became the main Flash, he's been faster than Barry Allen.
So I'm cool with that. Let's say that was just point blank. Yeah. But how does he have a more pure connection to the Speed Force than the character who is the Speed Force?
Well, didn't he become the Flash because Barry Allen died?
Pretty much.
So what if the Speed Force needed a new person to attach to?
But that's the thing, though. The Speed Force is and has been Barry Allen. It's like the essence of his existence in terms of a multiversal concept. I'm not saying it's smarter that makes sense in and of itself, But I'm just saying that it's like, so it has its own innate thinking out of existing from this dude, but it is this dude. So how isn't this dude the most pure form of the thing that he becomes or is simultaneously?
Like, why does Godspeed have white lightning?
And he's not even Barry Allen or Wally West. It's Bruce Wayne.
Wait, Godspeed's Bruce Wayne?
I swear on my life it's Bruce Wayne because it's Red Death who injects himself with something that makes him allowed to use the Speed Force. He, like, takes the Flash's... No, that's not what it was. He merges with the Flash.
Bruce...
That's Bruce Wayne
Wayne.
merges with the Flash. That's what the Red Death is.
Yeah, that's Red
That's
Death.
why the Red Death was able to verge and become Godspeed. Technically, it's a form of Barry Allen, sort of. And also Bruce Wayne-ish, sort of, somewhere in there. It's like a new baby that they made together. That is the god of speed with a little bit of a bat motif. That's what it sounds like when he runs, but like past your ear, and it breaks your ears. That's what it sounds like. Scares children everywhere. There is no safety near him.
Are we like all factual with this?
That's the problem.
Godspeed?
Who was Godspeed
Sort
in
of.
the CW show? Who did they end up doing that?
Another month.
I have no idea.
Where they fought with lightsabers.
Because Red Death became Godspeed, then Red Death came back, and Godspeed became another entity in and of itself. And then all of a sudden, he's back.
Is Zoom and Reverse Flash the same person?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Both wear yellow and red.
In the comics, they're different. Technically, Professor Zoom. Okay, they actually sorted those out in the Flash TV show.
Yeah, they made Zoom, Hunter Zolomon, and then
Right.
they.
Right, I knew that, but I
Because
didn't know what they were doing
that's
in the
what they
comics.
are. In the
Thawne.
comic-wise, they are different people. They just look the same for some reason. In the show, they made
Who's
one of
faster?
them blue.
Right. Black. And with blue lightning.
Well, yeah,
No
he wears
shit.
like a gray suit with like blue accents, and the mouth is covered.
In the
and
New
it's weird.
52 run,
And then he becomes the Black
They
Racer.
made Zoom's
Mhm.
freaking emblem a square to differentiate them, but
Instead of a white circle, it's a square.
it's a square.
White square.
It's a black.
with
It's
lightning?
a black square with a black lightning bolt, but it's a yellow suit.
Black on black. Does he
no,
still have the
black,
red?
No, it's black on yellow.
Yeah, but you said the lightning bolt was black too. On top of a black.
It's been so long since I've seen it, I don't remember this part. I
It's
thought
like-
he
so
still
it's-
had like the black symbol with a red outcropping with a red lightning
I don't know,
bolt.
man. It's been so long since I've seen it.
Okay. Anyway,
The fact that we're having terms in like comics versus CW is its own thing, but the fact that we have so many questions about this in the comics, I think is part of the reason that like the Flash Wally West and Flash Barry Allen, I have so many questions and issues
what does
with.
purple lightning mean? In the CW show.
Blue also means something different in the CW shows. It means
does.
you're on drugs.
It means you're literally.
It means you're on crack.
You are on the speedster equivalent of crack. And
I want some.
the speedster monsters are coming to you.
What if they did powdered velocity 9?
What?
Like cocaine velocity 9.
I think it would still have the same problem.
Yeah, but I think that'd be cool. Cooler delivery system than just juicing.
Oh, instead of just juicing, you do a
So
line and run around in
instead
circles.
Of,
Yeah.
Instead of injecting heroin, you just snort cocaine.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
cocaine's way cooler than heroin.
That's fair.
Well,
Don't
you
do
can do drugs,
coke-
kids.
You can do cocaine on a weekend and you're good. And heroin, you're just there.
Okay. So hear me out.
Tell me I'm wrong.
This was what I learned in the DARE program, essentially. Is that one of these looks more cool.
It's cocaine. Makes
It
you want
is-
to kick a fat kid at Walmart, bro.
Right, well, cocaine looks like a drug of, like, Patrick Bateman-looking dudes that are, like, successful but unhinged.
Yeah.
And just dudes that are way off their gourd Miami Vice style.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have meth where it's just, I got to tie up my arm and got to shoot it up, got to boil it in a spoon, got to put it in a needle, then I got to tie my arm and I got to shoot it up. And
then
where's
we gotta
the
go yell at
caveman?
then we gotta go yell at the stop sign for a half hour.
Yeah.
Where am I stopping?
Dude, remember that dude who was freaking trying to juke out the damn post?
This is what I'm talking about.
Oh
and then
my
you
gosh.
got the other kind of meth where they're marching across the French border.
Oh, so for those who don't know, last year whenever we went to Comic-Con, We were driving back, and then we were just watching this dude. We were at a stoplight. We were just watching this dude try to juke out. What was it, like a fucking? Like
it was a pillar there,
like a pillar post
to
type
stop
deal?
people from stealing an ATM.
Yes.
Because it was the outside of a bank on Main Street.
Oh yeah. He was trying to.
We're literally on the route for the streetcar. There's this bank off the side of the road. It's a smaller bank. Been there a few years, and this dude is like standing there, like looking at it, and we see him like moving. And we're like, is he about to juke out the sign? And then he just goes, and we're like, what?
And I'm like, oh!
He's fighting jackals.
Didn't we come back in the car, and he was still fucking doing it?
I swear that happened, but I'm not sure if we got out of the car. I think he was just there doing it for a while, I think was the thing. Like, I think we just sat at that stoplight for like 15 minutes, and he was just juking out the...
Oh, my God.
But in all seriousness, don't do drugs.
Yeah, don't
do drugs.
Unless you want to be the dude that jukes out signs, you can do that without drugs.
Yeah.
He's looking at me.
Why does it all the time in his free time?
It's true. I sit around and don't do drugs and act like the signs are attacking me.
Just imagine Wyatt in his living room.
Adding new meaning to I saw the signs, and they opened up my eyes.
Yes.
I saw the signs.
When in doubt, just punch the local stop sign.
I just thought of something looking at your shirt. Captain America's shield.
What about it?
It's supposed to absorb all vibrations, but it bounces off walls and back into his hand magically. Is it enchanted?
Arguably, can it even absorb sound without a thing to do it with? It's just a chunk of metal.
Right.
It's also pretty dense metal. Something that's...
No, it's twice as strong. It's like, what did Howard Stark say in the first Captain America movie? He said, twice as strong as steel and third of a weight.
That's still fairly decent, like, density.
It's vibranium, man.
To throw it and then to bounce it off something without it crumpling at all, without any kind of indention, and then get it back onto your arm is on another level.
I'm just saying a material made to absorb all vibrations.
But that's the thing,
Like
though.
it bounce into a wall without going through the wall.
But doesn't it need a receptacle to actually be able to collect it? Because how does it innately store it?
It doesn't. Captain America's shield doesn't store it.
That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't collect or absorb it.
Doesn't dissipate it either.
What if Captain
or is the dissipation of it bouncing?
I'm talking about the MCU for a second. What if they made Captain America's shield
Or is that
able to
what
do
makes
repel kinetic energy like Black Panther's armor?
Like store and repel it?
Yeah, like just goo, and like he just.
It would
sends
be
someone
a
flying.
perfect weapon. You wouldn't need guns anymore because you could just be, oh, are you shooting at me? Oh, are you shooting at me? Let me get a little bit closer.
Well, what if they put like you know how the spears can shoot? What if they do like a spear thing in the tip of it so it can shoot?
It's called a perfect weapon. It's called a perfect weapon. The only way it would be better is if you had it Roman style where it was like a rectangle and you could have a whole like turtle of people do it.
Well, that's what the cloaks are for.
I hold my point. You just need dudes able to do it on top as well. And then you're impenetrable.
What if you sharpened the edges?
I mean, at that point, if you're also having like the spear thing, that you could also just have it energized on the edges.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't even need to sharpen it.
Okay, so now we're going to go to something different. So let's talk Star Trek real quick.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
I don't know
Star
anything
Trek.
about Star Trek. So
They can beam they can do like they can beam down people, and apparently in the new J.J. Abrams continuity, they can beam wherever they want. So doesn't that eliminate the need for the Enterprise, other than like discovering new stuff that's uncharted?
No, because the Enterprise would be a mobile-based system. And the problem with, like, you can theoretically energize anywhere, but you have a higher chance of being disrupted.
Isn't the Enterprise in those movies way bigger than it was in the original show?
Yeah.
Or at least it looks like it. Based on the models that they have, it's kind of hard to say.
Or it's the size that that Roddenberry imagined it, but they couldn't really.
Oh, I highly doubt anything in those shows or anything near what Roddenberry imagined.
I see.
It's like they spit on his grave with those movies.
Yeah.
By having cars with gas engines in the first 5 minutes of the first J.J. Abrams movie. Immediately, it's just like, Gene Roddenberry, didn't we already put a... Never mind, I'm not finishing that statement. That was about to get way further than I wanted to go with it.
Who says that car has a gas engine? Is it it doesn't look like a classic, right?
that car is emitting. Okay, so when you see it driving,
Yeah.
one, it's driving on a road, which is something that Gene Roddenberry, there's a whole thing with that.
Yeah.
And it has tires, and you see it have an exhaust. So it
Oh.
has to be emitting some kind of fuel system.
Gotcha.
Gene Roddenberry had this huge pictured out, perfect utopia, sort of. It's highly militaristic by accident, but on a different scale. He didn't recognize that. There was no roads, and all the cars could hover, and everything worked on a clean fission system, or cold fusion.
Mm.
So, like, every car flew, and there was fields everywhere, essentially, because you didn't need roads in the contextual way that they've existed.
Well, it could be a
Where
classic
we're
car for
going,
them.
we don't need roads.
So like before the advent of no tire.
That would be a 500-year-old car.
Yeah. Things last longer every day. And well, except for iPhones, but that's another topic.
What do we use?
Connor,
500 years old.
yeah, we're not going around in 500-year-old horse carriages.
Well, I'm not saying that we are, but like think about like several hundred years from now.
It's
Someone
also
might have like a VHS because they think VHSs are cool.
I don't think that's the same in this case, because we're also talking about a world where there's a lot more of this system. They try to treat it like he's like an 80s kid that grew up into a huge future, because J.J. Abrams doesn't know how to picture past that.
Mm.
But I think it's bad. I think it's dumb and insulting to everything that Star Trek is. You have this, like, 500... What year does Star Trek actually take place? It's like, is it the 2200s? So hypothetically, a car would still exist.
Yeah.
But it would be a museum piece, and they treat it like, this was my dad's truck.
This is my dad's truck.
Yeah, that would be a family
22, like 2200.
Like, imagine if your family had a horse
It's
carriage that
200
was
years
passed
away.
down for
I get what you're
100
saying.
years.
I don't know.
Where were we 200 years ago?
That's a really big nitpick for.
something that was plotted out, and he says that he loves this franchise, and that's actually a fairly big thing about Earth.
Think about it. 200 years ago,
Especially
America
in the
was
next
like
generation.
17 years old, or however old it was, 20-something years old. How old was?
Oh, we literally had the Electoral College, designed the Electoral College because we were like, people aren't smart enough.
And think about where
That's
we're
how
gonna be in
much
200
time
years.
changed.
Dead or prospering.
But I think it's a fairly decent nitpick for something made by someone who claims to love something so much. That's like if I took Star Wars and was just all of a sudden like, here's Mormons. Like, just straight up regular Mormons.
That's fair.
It's like, here's a thing from
You're
our
Mormons.
world that would be outdated or weird in this case, but here it is.
Well, technically, they could be the first Mormons because it was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Fair point. But by the context of what I'm referring to, they still believe that Independence, Missouri is the Holy Land.
Okay.
They believe in.
They say just think Earth
They
is
believe the meth capital of the country is
the world of the world.
of the world now.
It's been the world.
Yeah. Okay, so it's been the world for a long time, and then a place in China took it, and then it
And then
came
we
back.
got it back.
Oh, okay.
We got it back.
Because
USA. USA.
Because it was the meth capital of the country for a while. It's always been. But
I love meth.
Easily
I've
for
never done meth.
30
Wanna do
years,
meth?
it's been the country. But
But
for the
now
past 20, it's been easily the world.
Okay.
Except for like a 1 to 3 year stint.
Okay. So, yeah, the meth cap. Well, no wonder.
It was before the pandemic.
I would like to
So go
preface this
figure.
to say,
Oh my God, it's because they were cooped up. That's why they got the meth back. Oh my God. It was the pandemic that brought the meth back. The meth title was brought back because of COVID.
Let's talk about lightsabers for a minute.
yeah,
First, they say they're weightless. Now they say that they have different weights.
and also,
And the Mandalorian can't even pick up the Darksaber. Or is it just a Darksaber? And there's a guy on TikTok, and I love him because he's like, if lightsabers didn't have weight, this is how they would fight with them.
Oh, is that the sword guy?
Yeah. He's like, this is how they would fight. They would use no technique at all because they would be weightless. And you could just flashlight someone with the lightsaber.
Also, them being weightless would also have a lot of questions to them being able to, like, hit and strike each other.
Like
To swing it,
momentum to,
technically,
like-
I could wave a flashlight around in any way I want and act like it's a sword. So that part doesn't change. I can have a technique to holding a flashlight like I'm holding a sword.
Right, but you wouldn't need to have a technique. You would lose more if you used technique with a weightless sword, is what he would say. What he's saying.
It just, like, there's no good way out of it because it either has density or it doesn't have density.
I think it would make sense if it did have density.
It would have to be able to have techniques.
And with the Mandalorian, it's like, hey, you're not connecting with this kyber crystal, so you can't lift the thing. It's just getting heavier and heavier.
Yeah, they're trying to say that he's not emotionally in tune to the blade or something.
Right.
Which
makes sense because, like, if you're a Jedi or any lightsaber, you're supposed to be that weapon's your life, right?
Right, but so like Sabine Wren could just pick up the Darksaber and was just in tune with it.
Well, you remember it was heavy for her when she was training with Kanan too, though.
But it seemed like it was heavy because she didn't know how to fight with a weapon like that.
That was also like 8 years ago.
That's also part of it. This is one of those areas where the things get weird because of they got further, and they were like, how can we make this emotionally harder for this character? Yep. Do this. And then someone's like, what about this back then? And they're like, well.
So apparently, you know how Jon Favreau, that's his name, right? Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau.
Yeah, he's not a part of this season of Mandalorian.
No?
I don't think so, from what I was hearing. Because apparently, what's-her-name, who owns Lucasfilm, was getting way too involved. He was like, screw you, I'm going to go work on Ahsoka in peace.
So why was he at the premiere?
I don't know.
Wait, Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni?
Jon Favreau. But this is like, maybe he's not going to be involved in the next season. Maybe he did season 3, but he said he kind of wanted to leave Mandalorian.
Because I thought he was saying that he was heavily working on The Mandalorian 3 and 4, had to write 4 so that way he knew where 3 was going. So that way he could work with Filoni on where Ahsoka was going, so that way they didn't overlap.
Wait, when's
or do something
Ahsoka
wrong.
coming? Is it coming
this year?
This year? Where's the advertisement? Like,
we just got the Ninja Turtles trailer today, dude.
Oh,
So,
I mean, that looks pretty good.
That's a stacked cast.
And
Paul Rudd's in it.
All the turtles are actually teenagers.
John Cena is in it.
Jackie Chan's in it.
Jackie
Chan's
Chan
Splinter.
You see the Splinter for a second, and he looks weird.
Yeah.
He's got like a fro.
But I love the styles of the turtles.
And also,
like the
isn't
styles.
Gumball playing freaking Donnie?
I think so.
Or is that either Gumball or
I think it's Darwin.
Darwin?
I think it's Darwin.
It's Darwin.
The only thing I don't like
Well, I know
about the
that one-
designs is like the full head bandana. I'm not a big fan of that.
Well, so you know the kid from what's that? There was
Michael
a movie
Bay
with the
had
3
ass
kids, and it was a rated R movie.
Yeah,
Seth
it was
Rogen
like
made
called
it.
Bad Kids or something.
Yeah,
like
the little shit is being Raph. In that, where it's like it's the kid where it's like, what's in your pants there? He's like, that's my penis. It's that kid, and he's like, pull it out, and he's like, whoa, because he has like a bottle in there, you know.
Right.
Good.
I think the movie's going to be good.
I think
John Cena's rock steady.
Yeah, and Seth Rogen's his counterpart, right?
Bebop.
Bebop.
I have never been more excited for a pig and a rhinoceros.
Ever.
Also, where's the Shredder?
Good question. This could either be before he actually shows up or he's dead already.
What if? Yeah.
Shredder's one of those things that it's Ninja Turtle comics and continuity of the way they deal with villains is funny.
What's the girl one? Is she gonna be in this?
Jenica?
Jenica?
Or that's the newest one. Okay.
The yellow one.
That's Jenica.
Yeah.
There's a blue one.
There's another
teal one from like the 90s.
2000s.
Oh, I was talking about the newer
90s.
girl one.
The one that was made by the Power Ranger people. Yeah.
Saban, yeah.
Is that what her name was? Or that's the
No,
company?
That's the company.
I don't know the name of that female turtle. Jenica's the yellow one.
Yeah.
Because she was a human that they had a blood transfusion and ooze.
How?
and-
How did?
How did she grow a shell?
Dude, mutations. How did Rocksteady grow a horn?
Fair.
How did he grow tusks?
Fair.
Bebop. Baxter
Cowboy
Stockman grew a carapace, for God's sake. He became a fly.
One of them became a fish, right?
That's a newer thing.
Oh, that's anything.
As far as I know, he is not like from the comics. He was made for that show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Because he
I
replaced
don't know.
Bebop.
Bebop and Rocksteady didn't appear in that show for a while.
No, but there. I thought it was a rhino in the fish.
It was a dog,
It was a dog,
and
You're
it
right.
wasn't the original dog that did exist already.
Yeah, it was like a
He became
Doge
that
color
dog,
It was like
though.
a Doge color dog.
He was like a giant Shiba Inu man with like razors on his fist.
What's the giant snapping turtle one that they kept as a pet?
Slash.
That guy's rad. I hope he's in it. I doubt it, but I hope
There's a
he's
chance he might be. The movie's called Mutant Mayhem. It's
Right.
gonna get weird. I know Baxter
Who's Paul Rudd
Stockman's good.
playing?
I already forgot. Mondo Gecko.
Mondo Gecko.
Yeah.
And
I don't
Gus-
remember who was playing Genghis Frog.
Gus from Breaking Bad is what's his name?
Baxter Stockman.
But
there-
what's the actor's name? I'm blanking.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes, thank you.
He's gonna be at Comic Con.
Giancarlo.
I know.
Oh,
Do you want to
boy.
get his autograph?
It's only $80.
Um,
The concept of valuing
Mondo
someone's
Gecko.
autograph is weird, but at the same time, it's like he could
Who's
sign my
Leatherhead?
Darksaber. Who's Leatherhead? Dude,
Rose.
who's playing Leatherhead?
Rose Bryan.
What?
She's that girl from the internship. And
No. You're telling me she's playing Leatherhead?
Yeah, it says that's what she's casted as.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Let me look up what Leatherhead looks like because
He is a very large alligator man.
that's right.
In the original 80s toys, he had a little vest and a little hat. And in the
Yes.
2012
okay,
show, he was gigantic and awesome.
Yeah, this one.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember him now. But this is what he was originally.
Yep.
But yeah, that lady's gonna play Leatherhead.
I don't know how to
I
feel about
remember
that.
him now.
A crocodile.
I
with
didn't see that.
boobs.
Yeah.
Wingnut, Natasha
Wingnuts in the movie?
Natasha Dimitriou. I don't know who this lady is playing her. And then the lady from Grown Ups that plays Chris Rock's wife is going to be Cynthia. I don't know who that is.
Ultron?
Ultron. And then that lady's going to be April.
Ice.
Ice Cube's going to be Superfly. Ice Cube is.
Yeah.
Post Malone's Ray Fillet.
Ray Fillet. He's a stingray person.
I know.
Genghis Frog is Hannibal Buress.
Hannibal. That's what it was. I'm more excited for that than I should be because all I can think of is on
Was
him
this
on
feedback?
Eric Andridge. Why'd you do that?
Yeah. Why'd you do that? Yeah. And let me go to the rest of the cast.
I didn't
That's
know
everyone.
that Leatherhead was going to be a woman.
So wait, check who Donatello is.
Donatello is this little kid right here. He is in Bunked. He is in. He hasn't been in a lot of stuff.
He might have just been a Disney kid.
I don't think he's.
'Cause I thought
he's
one of
not
the- I
listed
thought
as
there was-
Darwin.
Sounded like Darwin.
Yeah, I thought in the trailer I heard someone that sounded like Darwin.
Maybe they just have a similar voice. This kid's
Could
an
be the
oddballs.
case. Really? And
He-
that newer How to Train Your Dragon
It's
show.
Leonardo.
Interesting. Dude, I'm not going to lie. Like, hearing the children voices of, like, turtles and then just hearing them go back and forth near, like, the end of the trailer was absolutely hilarious to me.
Like
Just
whenever
like-
Donatello gets the freaking
The sigh in his leg. And he's like, is it still in there? Leonardo, what's going on? I think it's bleeding. It's not bleeding. Is it bleeding? I don't know. I can't look at it.
it's still there.
It's still
then
there.
then Mike gets freaking like whoop with the damn gas can or something.
Like, I'm more excited for this movie than I should be. It looks good.
It looks really good, yeah. And I'm so happy that we're finally moving away from like the ultra realistic animation that we're trying to go for, like making it stylized.
Well, didn't they just
is fantastic.
introduce turtles that were like they were all different sizes? Like Raph was like humongous and had like the big red on like bandana on him. And like
Yeah, they did
Donatello
that-
was like really tall, like as tall as Raph, but he
tall
was
and
super
skinny. Yeah, that was
Leonardo
the
was like the only normal
Ninja
looking
Turtles Unleashed or something like
Yeah.
that.
And
The one that
was
was
like tiny.
the one that was most recently on Nickelodeon,
Yeah.
and it also got a Netflix movie.
Mm.
It like started out kind of rocky, but ended up actually becoming like a decent-ish Ninja Turtles thing.
Mm.
They were all different kinds of turtles.
Oh,
Donatello was a soft shell. Raphael
Ew.
was a snapping turtle. Michelangelo was a box turtle. And then I think Leonardo was a red-eared slider.
Okay.
So that's why they were all like different sizes and dimorphism and stuff like that.
Well, that's cool. I don't know how I feel about Donatello being a soft shell turtle though.
I mean, right, but at the same time, it's like
I wanted him to have a long neck.
just super creepily long.
Yeah.
And he has.
Did he have a nose thing?
I don't think so because they went with a basic Ninja Turtle design with slight alterations, but it was an actual plot point that his shell was soft, and
Oh,
he
it was?
protects it with like basically a tank level shell
Really?
that holds all of his gadgets and stuff. And that became like a plot point in the movie because it falls off, and they're like, Leonardo, this is your fault for being a crappy leader.
Dang.
That was something that the movie did, was also rectify that Leonardo is the leader because they had a time travel thing.
Oh.
Because in the show, that was the big thing at the beginning that a lot of, like, I'm going to regret this term, Ninja Turtle super fans were, like, super against, was that Raphael was the leader, and then that also caused this weird divide split online. They were like, Raphael's better equipped to be a leader, Leonardo's a pushover, and then other people were like, he's literally, is he a pushover, or did you just watch the 80s cartoon? And Ninja Turtle fans are weird.
Yeah.
It is so weird.
Ninja Turtle fans are weird.
It's
Are you
like
calling yourself weird?
there's different levels
how
to
did
this
Splinter
fandom,
get?
But yes.
So what's the continuity with like Splinter? Like, how did he turn into a giant rat before them?
In the old like Jim Henson movies, it was he was a rat, and then he just got really intelligent, and before he became super duper intelligent, he somehow learned his master's moves, and then his master died, and he got dumped in the sewer. But in the cartoons and the comics,
Nope.
No.
In the very first comics, he was a rat.
Shit.
He's a rat that became a rat man.
But
And I think in the original cartoon that is also the same, because that's how the comics started.
no.
Yeah, but how did he become a thing?
No,
before the
in
Turtles?
the cartoon, he was Hamato Yoshi, and then got mutated into a rat.
Which cartoon?
The 80s
2000
cartoon.
I thought in the 80s cartoon is when they still kept the rat origin,
No.
and it was in 2003 that they changed it to Hamato Yoshi.
No.
I think in the 2012 one, he was a rat.
He was Hamato Yoshi
Are you sure?
because the whole
Well,
dog.
because I remember an episode like where he was a rat and he was sitting, like he became a rat person and he was sitting.
Here's the text with the correct answer. There we go.
He was sitting in the sewer, and he like a martial arts book fell into the sewer, and he like learned from the book, and then he taught the turtles how to do it.
There was a whole thing in that show about him having a daughter, and a family picture with the
I
daughter.
swear to God, I'm not making this up
Yeah,
though. Like I don't know if it
you're
was
right.
that cartoon, but like
You're right.
like
Then his
was a
daughter got
scene.
raised by Shredder.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that scene's from, but
does it sound familiar at all?
maybe.
Because like I swear, like I remember Splinter just sitting in the sewer sulking, and like a book falls down like
That honest to God could have been the 2003 one.
and like he
That-
like reads
wait,
and learns the
wait,
karate from or
wait,
whatever martial art it is from
wait.
the
That's
book.
the Michael Bay one.
Is it?
Yeah.
That would answer a few things because I
Okay.
watched that movie once and hated it.
That
Never
was
came
that was
back.
the Michael Bay one.
I never looked back. I don't
That-
think I ever watched the second one
That's
either.
what it was.
That movie had some fun moments though.
Did it?
I think
Yeah,
so.
the
Like, where they
elevator
were
scene-
sledding
the-
down the
Elevator scene was fun too.
the
Oh,
where
the
they
elevator scene pisses me off.
where the
Like,
Really?
irrationally pisses me off.
I like the where they're sledding down the mountain and
Ever
like
s-
all the cars are just around him and they're just like, yeah.
I always thought it was weird they're on a mountainside.
I just think it's cool.
They live in the city.
I just think
Is
it's
this-
cool.
Why is the story
This is-
outside of the city?
It's just about
All heroes go outside of the city.
It's just about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now.
Spider-Man goes out of the city all the
Yeah.
time.
Spider-Man isn't a dude that has to live in the sewer.
The Lizard goes out of the city all the time.
He's a supervillain that also transforms into a regular dude.
Swamp
the
Thing
Hulk goes out of the
swamp
city.
all the
He's a
time.
dude that transforms into a dude and is on the Avengers.
Robert Downey Jr. in
Killer Croc goes out of the city.
Supervillain
Not a
who was
supervillain.
also a part
just
of the
a villain.
circus.
He's not a supervillain.
Super Friends says otherwise. Super Friends comics.
All I'm saying is that Killer Croc is never like fully like.
Also,
threatened
name a time
whole
that he's
city.
gone outside of the city other than walking.
RDJ and Tropic Thunder goes out of the city.
He's a dude playing another dude playing another dude.
Thank you.
Hydro Thunder.
I can't think of a time that Killer Croc has left the city in a far extent that was other than walking.
Or
Because he also
or
used to travel with
Waller.
circus.
Walking or Waller.
True. He
Yeah.
was on the Suicide Squad.
King Shark goes out of the city.
He's
Doesn't live in a
He
city.
swims.
He is king of all sharks.
He comes to the city though. From the ocean.
He comes to the city. That's different than that's different than Splinter
New
being
dumb
like
friends.
I feel like these are all different than I raised you in the sewers because humanity can't understand you yet.
I can't imagine how much fun Sylvester Stallone was having in that booth.
I could have done better. Probably not, but I could have done an equal job.
You could have went up against Rocky.
No, I'm talking about just for
voicing a giant
just
fish
for
man.
voicing a giant shark.
Okay.
I don't have the body to fight Apollo Creed.
Because he also didn't do the body acting for that movie either. So
Right.
Fair.
But I would have done both. If I would play King Shark, if I got casted at King Shark, I want to do the voice and I want to be the stand-in because that'd be hilarious. And then I'd dance around and frolic. Like the big man I am. I frolic at work on the ramp where people can see me. Anyway, what's another character? Let's move away from Ninja Turtles here for a minute.
Star Wars is a good example.
Oh God.
Starkiller and Rey.
Yeah.
They're both set up as these characters that are immensely powerful.
Yeah, but one's Legends, one's canon.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
You also have one that was a video game character, and there's a cut out of time where he was being trained by Darth Vader, and you have this one over here that's in canon. Doesn't have a video game, and the movies take place one right after one another, and it all takes place in the span of 1 year. So you have this little axis of he was trained with Sith powers, and then he's still anime levels Star Wars Goku, I'm going to rip you in half from the other side of the planet.
For no good reason other than video game.
Yeah.
Wasn't one of the cinematic trailers for that like him just exploding stormtroopers?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also he just like pulls down a Star Destroyer.
Well, that was in the game.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
And
It was
amazing.
awesome, but like
And there's things like that.
Darth
Darth
Vader can't do that.
He did that in Legends.
He did.
I swear there was stuff in Legends where he was able to pull ships out of the sky.
Darth Vader did that in Obi-Wan.
Well, he did that in
It was
Obi-Wan,
way
but
smaller of a
that
ship,
was a
but-
freighter.
It was way smaller of a ship, but it was still way bigger than the ship that Rey was struggling with against Kylo with.
And once again, I still think the ship argument I made talking about Star Wars and inorganic versus organic material makes it huge.
Yeah.
It used to make sense.
Yeah.
But Starkiller can use like lightning
Right, which is something Darth Vader can't do.
because
So
of
can
robot
Rey.
parts.
So can Rey.
That's also that's one of those things that bothers me because it's like this was a learned skill, and the only reason that she did it in that movie was so people would be like, oh, she is a Palpatine.
She killed Chewie.
Suggesting that lightning
Oh, there goes Chewie.
is a genetic trait in the Force.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Even though Plo Koon mastered good Force lightning
In Legends.
in Legends.
in one story.
Mm-hmm. Like it was like the good Force, and it was like a different color. It wasn't blue. It was like orange.
Yellow or
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm. Plo Koon is just.
Plo
I'm
Koon
so
was
mad
just-
how he died in like canon.
Oh, just getting shot out of the sky?
because Plo Koon was like God.
He
Like, the
also
only
never
person to best Yoda in dueling.
I also don't think he expected to get shot out of the sky, even with the Jedi mind powers.
But like, it's Plo Koon. He's God. He can go into space.
And theoretically, they can still, since you never see like a body, hypothetically, they could just say he crash landed. They could pull an Obi-Wan for him if they really wanted to.
Shit. From what they are talking, pull a Mace Windu.
Mace Windu is so overrated.
Why?
Because he's just
Sam
like that's
Jackson.
I
what?
know. I'm not saying that Samuel Jackson's a problem because I love Samuel Jackson. I love Mace Windu, but it's just like that's the person we're expecting to come back. It's
Right,
like,
because
there's Miss Wayne.
Because he's Mace Windu. He just fell out of a window. That's all that happened to him. The 2003 Clone Wars had a big thing.
I'd
with
rather
that.
have Plo Koon back. Just
Why?
saying. Because he's better than Mace Windu. He's stronger.
His
bro.
name is Windu.
I don't think he's
and he got
stronger.
thrown out the window.
He's the only person to ever beat Yoda.
That
in
doesn't mean he's
dueling.
stronger with the Force, though. That means
And he's
a
the
better
only
lightsaber
person
user.
who has mastered multiple Force abilities.
In canon or in Legends.
Yes. I don't know.
I don't know anything about in canon for that.
But, like,
In Force
Because,
abilities
well,
is
in
still
canon-
a big open wound.
In canon, he's just there.
Right.
In canon.
He's a good leader is what he is in canon.
Yeah.
And he's the reason
Because
Ahsoka's there.
they revamped the entire idea of being a Jedi
Mhm.
and made Order 66 quote unquote realistic. I think that's the big reason they took out a bunch of the Force powers and stuff.
I'd rather get Plo Koon back with an orange lightsaber than Mace Windu back with his purple lightsaber. Just saying.
I'd much rather see Mace Windu back.
Because we still and Samuel Jackson's like 76.
That's a good reason to cast him as an old man with no hands. He got both of his hands chopped off and fell out
I
a
thought it was
window.
only one hand. Was
I thought
two?
it was both.
Because he was holding his lightsaber like this.
I thought he had it like at a.
No, he was definitely holding it with one hand up.
What was he doing with the other hand then?
Holding it.
That's a horrible tactic. No wonder.
I'll pull up the screenshot right
no,
now.
I'm cool for that. But like, I'm willing to be wrong on this. But that just proves that that's why he got his hand chopped off and thrown out a window.
Well, he had his back to Anakin, I think.
Well, yeah, because he.
Well, like I mean, like this hand, which is the side that was Anakin was on.
Right, because he wouldn't have expected
hold-
Anakin to
yeah.
chop his hand off.
Undo.
My point is like, why would you only have one hand on your light? Because was he catching lightning in his hand like Yoda would?
No, because he had to block with his lightsaber, just like everyone else.
That's what I'm saying. So what was it the other hand even doing?
It was there.
But why? Why was it in the air?
It wasn't in the air. It was down by his side.
That's not better.
You see it?
Yeah, I could see the little thumbnail. Yeah, that's not better.
He wasn't expecting the betrayal that eventually happened.
But it should not. That's not the betrayal I'm talking about. That like he's fighting a Sith Lord who manipulated his way to the top of the government.
Yeah.
I'd have both hands on my lightsaber. It's all I'm saying.
And then you would get both hands cut off. He only has one hand.
I would
now.
also have a stronger ability to fight the Sith Lord, even if I'm not.
He
expecting
already
this
beat him
one.
with one hand.
Okay, and he's manipulating him.
And he
I
wasn't.
still feel
he
like
was
it's
just
a
holding,
Sith Lord for
he was
God's
just-
sake.
He wasn't manipulating him. He was
The other one.
manipulating Anakin. Mace Windu was ready to just. Cut a
Long
bitch.
story short, he should have just killed him.
I agree, but it was Anakin being like,
Because
"No, don't kill him."
arguably it was the sensitivity of the Jedi himself inside him. He was like, he needs to stand for justice. And Anakin allowing him to be like, that's true.
No,
That's
Anakin
what
was
we
the
were
one
raised on.
saying he needs to be like
Right,
stood
but
in
Mace
court,
Windu
Mace Windu
would-
was like,
would've-
we need to kill him now. He's a Sith Lord. He's
Do we
What
need
if
to
he
watch
had
Revenge of the Sith?
No. He still would have done it, though. Okay.
Mace Windu literally
he
said,
didn't-
"No, he needs to die now."
Right, but he still had reservations because of the Jedi teachings.
Okay,
That's why he didn't just... Because when has he listened to Anakin before?
right.
That's my argument to that. That he was still willing to have him on trial because of the Jedi teachings inside him. But he didn't just kill him because of those teachings. And Anakin didn't do shit for him because he did not like Anakin.
No, we do not grant you the rank of master.
He was very begrudgingly going to maybe grant him the rank of master if we go by what fans assume.
Who said he wasn't ready? Was it Yoda or was it him?
So
was
Yoda
it a
was kind of
combination
like
of
an
both- all-
offside type of thing. And I think, okay, if we go by including Clone Wars now, Ahsoka proves herself on the battlefield by doing things like a Jedi Knight would.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, helps with the Battle of Mandalore, catches Darth Maul and all that.
Right, and
She
that's how she
gets
gets back on the
Back onto the
in
cruiser.
the order.
She isn't officially in the
True,
order.
yeah, true.
But they see that as the Jedi trials that
Right.
she was supposed to pass.
Mhm.
And Obi-Wan makes that argument.
Oh, right, because they were like, "Hey, you're back in," and she's like, "No, I'm good. I don't want to be back in. I'll help, but I'm not gonna be."
Right.
Right, I remember now.
Because Obi-Wan has the call with her,
Mhm.
and he's just like, oh, he killed, you know, Dooku, but I'm kind of worried about him. He's kind of being fucky.
Right,
We'll cut that word out.
we're a
We-
team.
we've-
We're
That's not the point. That this is partially professional. I think we're not in a not important right now. Let me recatch my thoughts. Star Wars, he was going to be granted rank of master because of her actions on Mandalore. And then you have this that breaks down, and that's why there was a Jedi Council meeting where Anakin was shoved out. Obi-Wan makes the case. I think Yoda was the one that was supposed to be sympathetic for it, and the other Jedis follow Yoda because, you know, popularity
Yoda.
party. But Mace Windu was a dissenting opinion, but it seems that he was going to agree because he told him to wait in that room off to the side just before the whole Emperor bit. It sounds like that those Jedi were also going to be with Mace Windu in that moment to tell Anakin, like, hey, this is what's happening. But instead they were a little bit distracted by all the clone stuff happening
Mhm.
that eventually led to Order 66 then happening afterwards. Because at that point, there's already a bunch of stuff that they were like, are these guys okay? It's getting really tense.
But yeah. Anyone have any other thoughts before?
They should bring back Ram Koda.
They should bring back Kyle Katarn as well. And maybe Mara Jade?
I'd rather have Mara Jade over Cal Katarn.
Really?
I hate Cal Katarn.
Is that the one dude?
He's basically Cal Kestis, but Cal Kestis does it better.
I think Cal Kestis and
Andor.
Not
kind of mixed
Andor.
together.
Yeah, Andor, I guess.
Isn't that where Cal-Katarn started? Was basically like in a spy game.
Yeah, he was the one who he was the one who retrieved the first Death Star plans
And who'd you say?
with Bothans, of course.
Who do you want back?
Rom Coda. He's an unhinged, basically drunken master style Jedi from.
Oh yeah.
Basically, they did bring him back, and it's just Kanan.
That's what I was, because Kanan has a lot of aesthetic similarities to Kyle Katarn.
Man bun.
Yep.
And then man bun from Rom Coda.
And then because they made him blind to make him more different.
And then Cal Katarn, that's kind of the way that the shirt, pants, and shoulder stuff lay.
Yeah.
With a blaster on his hip.
And like the shoulder pauldron.
I really want freaking Kanan to be in this next Jedi Survivor game. Because I feel like it would make so much sense if they like crossed paths at least. They were both Padawans at the same time. They were pretty much the same age.
Man, I just remembered he died.
Yeah.
That
and he got
sucks.
to see his love one more time.
Man.
Think about that. But they were basically the exact same age, so it would have made sense that they would have known each other at least.
Or at least possibly heard of one another. Because, like, how many Jedi were there?
I know there's a line in the movie that says we have 600 to protect the galaxy. And they're like, we need an army for what's coming. I was
We
like,
have a Hulk.
yeah. But, like, I feel
That was
like
Anakin. We saw how that went.
I swear there's a line that, like, it's like someone talking to the Chancellor, or, like, he wasn't the Chancellor yet.
It was in episode 1, wasn't it?
I think so.
Because it would have been. Was it the side scene where they're just like, this is an ancient enemy that hasn't been seen in, like, such and such amount of years?
I think so.
And this Padawan just totally struck one down.
Maybe.
Because Obi-Wan was still a
10,000
Padawan.
Jedi defending the galaxy.
That makes Order 66 really.
How many clones were there?
Like 2 million. We had there was a line in the movie about that too. It was like we have Sun Snow and with 2 million units
on the way.
stand
so
by.
There
But that was at the
quite a
beginning
bit
too.
of clones, so they've expanded.
There's that many
also.
Jango Fetts.
Right. So that would have been expansion
Let's look.
afterwards.
Let's see if
How many
Google has
clones were there by the end of the Clone Wars is the question.
any clones
Oh my god, how many clones would that have been just put out into the galaxy?
are there in Star Wars?
Oh
1,728,000,000.
Jango Fett's the new Genghis Khan.
Technically speaking, to a certain degree, yeah.
Because like after did they just kill all the clones?
Right, that's the problem.
A
They couldn't have
battalion is
just killed all the clones.
576
They could-
clones.
They'd have had to dismiss the obedient ones.
Did you hear me?
It was like 1.2 billion clones.
1.7 billion clones.
And that's throughout a galaxy, too.
Right.
So in reality, it's a small-ish number.
576 clones per battalion. But that's for an army.
Right.
How many? Let's look
A
up.
gal-
let's
a
see if
galactic
Google
army.
has the droids
Dude,
on here.
But like,
because
no one's killed 1 billion people before.
Well, in our reality.
Well, they all did have advanced aging too, so they might have died out before.
That's true.
Before they had the chance
that's
to.
very
A lot of
true.
them would have,
Oh
died
my
out
God.
over a period of time.
By the end of Clone Wars, it was said that to be comprised. Is that word?
Yeah, comprised.
Of quintillions of battle droids.
Which makes sense, because they were disposable.
They always said they were outnumbered like 10-1 with every battle that they were in.
Right.
But the droids were just stupid.
Right. They weren't.
Well,
they
most
didn't
of
have
them were
the
stupid.
abilities that the clones had, which is why they were always victorious. And but like it said, a battalion of clones was 576. So it was a battalion. That's like, is that being led by one Jedi and one Padawan usually? Or
It depends, because Jedi were treated as generals as well.
right.
So it depends on how you break down a Galactic Republic's army. Where is a general's line in terms of leadership at this point, and this point? Because you have the 501st Legion, which was entirely under Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got split up when Ahsoka was also going on her way.
Right.
So you have Padawans. Where do they line up in terms in general?
They were right below. That's why Rex was a captain, because she was Commander Ahsoka, and then General Skywalker, and then that's why Commander Cody was stationed under Obi-Wan, is because he didn't have a Padawan to be commander.
Is that what it is?
I think so, because I think that's the whole reason it couldn't be Captain Rex for like a while.
Why?
I think he didn't want to become a captain because he would have gotten stationed somewhere else, not with Anakin and Ahsoka. So that's why. I mean,
Commander.
Commander. He didn't want to like go to that extra step because I think he wanted to stay with Anakin and Ahsoka, or like that would be my interpretation on it, because he definitely could have gone further.
And he becomes an ARC trooper too, which
Right.
is like basically elite forces.
Exactly.
But he doesn't do elite force things.
And he just stays with Anakin.
Until
And he
they-
also makes his own armor. Like he also forges
Yeah.
his own armor with a mix of Phase 2 and Phase 1 armor.
I feel like Rex just is slightly Bad Batchy, just because he was able to resist a lot and also had his own like personality.
Well, they all removed
do.
it, and
They all
him-
do.
It was him, Fives, and was it Fives? Him?
They didn't remove their chips before the order, or Rex didn't. That was
Was
part
after?
of the
Oh,
yeah.
Ahsoka
It was
removed his
during the order, during the actual Order 66
Oh, it was
events.
because because he runs around with like a pad on his head.
Fives was going to remove the chip, but doesn't he get shot during the whole conspiracy
Mhm.
thing?
Yeah, but then
Because he stands against them.
because
Rex and Ahsoka escaping.
Because that's why Rex realizes what's happening.
No, that was Jesse.
Oh, it was just
Yeah, well, Rex realizes what's happening. That's why he says fives whenever he's about to shoot Ahsoka. Because Rex thinks about it, he's like, oh shit, this is what's happening.
This is why these are in here.
Yeah, he's like, fives is right, and he's like, find fives, and then Ahsoka search through the
Right, because
files.
Fives was the first one to get his out, right?
Yeah, and fives is
He was the first one to learn about it because there was the clone that had a malfunctioning chip.
And the reason the Bad Batch was because they were augmented.
Right.
Imagine a whole man.
Which there's also a dumb plot point with that in Bad Batch Season 1. That they think that, what's his nuts, the sniper one that's somehow not in the second season really, or if he was in one episode for 5 seconds. Not important. That they show Wrecker having the context of the chip for a second, and it's so why didn't he have this at the beginning of the order when it would have been strongest?
Right.
Instead they're like, oh, I have this killer headache, and it's so is it a chip or is it brainwashing? Which one is it?
Both.
Because ideally,
Maybe both.
so where's the limit to it?
Well, I don't think from what I've seen in books, it didn't look like a microchip. It looked like there was they put an extra piece in their brain.
It looks pink and fleshy.
Right. So it looks what if because all the brain has different not quadrants, but different compartments that do different things. What if it was just a different piece, like a tumor? But it was when it activated,
not a tumor.
they just had lust towards Jedi, and they would just go to kill him.
That's what I'm saying. So if that's the case, why didn't the Bad Batch have them? Because they would have been augmented at an earlier age. And
Maybe
why
their
is
I think they say
Wrecker's-
their augmentation is messed with the thing
That's what I'm saying, though. So
because they had to amplify a part of the brain, right, to make them their certain speciality. So maybe it just overgrew the.
So if
tumor.
it's an injected chip or something that they could have altered,
I don't think it's injected. I think it's right. It grows
it's
with them, and I think it's implanted in the fetus clone.
so that it's not a chip.
It's a tumor. I think it's a tumor, but they call it a chip.
You see my problem, though. This fits into the contrasting thing.
But I think it's
'Cause
a tumor.
It doesn't make sense.
I think it would make more sense if it was a tumor.
because it would
Wouldn't
make
it?
more sense. No, my thing is it would make more sense if it's a brainwashing thing, how it was treated in Legends. Because after the Order, there was a bunch of clones, and they were like, "What in the sweet Jesus did I just do?" Instead of I was following orders.
Yeah, but in Bad Batch, they're like, "Hey, those Jedi's were traitors." So that's what I'm thinking.
So where's the line?
I'm thinking it's a tumor.
It's
That's what I think.
when they introduce the concept of a physical. Oh, look at this! There was something in his head.
Or maybe it's a mechanical tumor. Maybe it is it's a
It doesn't
device
make
that is
sense
meant to grow as a piece of the brain. but
because in
it's still-
Legends, the clone commandos weren't exposed to that training, and that's why they didn't commit Order 66.
Commandos and Commando Order 66.
In Legends, no, because they were trained by Jango Fett specifically.
before he got.
Yeah, before he was decapitated and ran over.
So did those ones
and vice versa. Or
train
whichever.
the following ones?
I think so. I
Or
think
we're
that's
just
what
left
happened.
to assume that.
Pretty much, because they expose that there's more clone commandos, and it's well, that doesn't make sense. But now the clone commandos are shown working for the Empire, so it's what is even happening anymore?
Do you think there was any clones that made it their way up in the ranks for the Empire? There was a.
There was Legends stories for that,
Mm,
and then
Oh,
they
you know what I'm
all
talking about,
dissipated.
General Tarkin level.
Oh, that level? No,
I just think they
they
were
didn't.
just
They didn't get that
commanding
far.
officers.
There was army officers and stuff like that.
Mm.
I don't think any of them got to ship officer level.
That
But a
first
bunch of the
army
ship level
stormtroopers
officers-
I feel would just kick the current stormtroopers' asses just because they were clones.
Probably.
Because they were, I feel like they were trained way more extensively.
Well, that's the problem with the.
Even though they were both taken, technically those stormtroopers are taken at birth. These ones were just made from birth.
Stormtroopers are mostly volunteers by the Empire standard.
Oh, now. But but I thought the whole thing is the reason they had Finn is because they were taken at birth.
First order. Because they're like, well, we don't want clones and we don't want people who think, so let's just brainwash babies.
Smart. And on the note of brainwashing babies, we're out of time.
Connor had a thought.
Oh, what's your
I
thought?
didn't have a thought. That was. Yeah, I was thinking the same.
Oh, okay. Well, we're out of time for this week's episode. If your brain hurts at the end of this episode, so does ours. So thank you all so much for watching. Please make sure to leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Please make sure to share this video with a friend. Maybe put it on your Snapchat story like we do on the Fridays. Maybe you don't have to. It would just Wyatt would give you a kiss if you did. So anyway, guys, thank you all so much for Wyatt. What's the secret word?
I don't know. I just got volunteered to kiss random people.
Kiss.
Whale?
Whale. Whale is the secret word. Make sure to go comment that down below. Wyatt will kiss you on the mouth.
We'll have a whale of a good time.
And so thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Please help.